This past week, I watched an anime called Texhnolyze. It's about a young man named Ichise who was once a very skilled fighter, but lost an arm and a leg due to a dispute with another character. He then gets taken in by this scientist named Eriko Kamada, who gives him a new mechanical arm and leg. This process is called Texhnolyzation, hence the title of this anime. Throughout all this, Ichise has to survive in the underground city called Lux, which is overrun by gangs, political factions, and other dangerous things that can harm his life. After I watched this show, I can safely say that this is a show you need to watch more than once to understand. It has a very experimental plot, and it follows a non-linear story structure that isn't like your typical shonen or seinen series. But despite all that, this is still a good series that I recommend to anyone looking for something different than the usual mainstream anime. It's not for everyone just because you have to work a little harder to understand the plot, and there are a lot of moments where you're like, what the f is going on? But I would still recommend giving it a try if the plot interests you. 8 out of 10. And with that, that'll be the end of this video. If you like this video, please make sure... No, that's not what I'm going to talk about. Avant Garde, or experimental anime, are anime that don't have linear plots, and instead of answering questions, make you ask more questions. You end up finishing the anime with more questions than you first walked in with, and that's where the beauty of these types of anime fall into place. A lot of story aspects are left for your interpretation, and you, the viewer, are meant to figure out the type of story that's being told and what it all means. It presents a good challenge to the viewer and is something that can create a lot of good conversation. But when people talk about these anime, they refer to them as the best anime out there, saying that they're better than 99% of all anime. There's a lot of people saying that, oh, mainstream anime is trash and these avant-garde anime are what you should be watching. And for reference, some of these avant-garde anime include the one I mentioned earlier, Serial Experiments Lain, Ergo Proxy, Paranoia Agent, Perfect Blue, and even anime like Neon Genesis Evangelion can be considered avant-garde. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed each and every one of these anime that I mentioned and would recommend them to anyone that's interested. But are these anime really the best in the whole medium? Are they really the anime you should be watching instead of that quote-unquote crappy mainstream stuff? Well, here's my answer to that question. No. But before any one of you guys gets angry and types in the comments that my opinion isn't valid, hear me out. If you're someone who's starting out with anime or know very little or nothing about the medium, I highly suggest you watch some of those mainstream shows, because the reason they're mainstream is due to the audience they attract. Anyone, no matter if they're someone who watches a lot of or very little to no anime, can watch it and understand a good portion of them, and they're mostly enjoyable to the audience. If you're someone who watches anime and just wants to have a good time and doesn't care about story or anything like that, you'll be more inclined to watch mainstream anime, and there's nothing wrong with that. Though if you want to think more about the plot of the anime you're watching and want something more complex, then that's where avant-garde anime come in. And I would recommend going more towards that side if you fall into that category. At the end of the day, everything's about preference when it comes to anime rankings and saying what genre is the best. I personally love mainstream anime like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, but don't like anime like The Apothecary Diaries. Man, I just pissed off a lot of people by saying that right now. And with avant-garde anime, I love anime like Perfect Blue, but I'm not as big of a fan of Fooly Cooly like everyone else is. It's okay because we all have our own preferences. That's how we can get awesome recommendations of obscure anime that nobody knows about. If everyone had the same opinions and viewpoints about anime, we would be getting the same recommendations over and over again, and I personally don't like that. But saying that avant-garde anime is better than 99% of anime is a very bold statement. Yes, the avant-garde genre may make up less than 1% of all anime, but that doesn't mean it's better than everything else due to that fact. It just means that it's an anime with not a lot of works in its genre. I really don't like it when anime fans think they're better than everyone else just because they watched a few avant-garde anime or watched an ultra obscure anime that nobody talks about, but they think they're cool because they're supposedly the only ones that have seen it. In real life, when I talk about what my favorite anime is, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, you know what most of my responses are? What the hell is that? What even is that anime? Is that an actual anime, or did you just make that up on the spot? I've talked to hundreds of people about what my favorite anime was, and only one person actually knew what it actually was. So no, it's not a big deal if you watched an anime that nobody else has watched. But in conclusion, avant-garde anime is good. I recommend you check out the genre if you're interested. But is it the best? I can't say that because what's considered the best is highly subjective in terms of works of art, which is what anime are. Well, anime that are made by actual humans from start to finish. I love mainstream anime, and I love avant-garde anime, and there's nothing you guys can do that will make me change my mind. So, if you're staying away from mainstream anime just because you think a more obscure anime is better, then I would advise you to actually watch more mainstream anime, because who knows, you may find something good that you've avoided for so long. Turn on that solo leveling, turn on that Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, binge the hell out of those shows, and never look back. And hey, if you know nothing about anime and want to watch Avant Garde anime, go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Who knows, you may discover your favorite show. But all in all, watch what you're interested in. Don't force yourself to watch something that someone else is forcing you to watch, which is already in itself a weird scenario. On this channel, I recommend anime to you guys, but I will never force you to watch it. That's just not how I roll. And just remember that watching anime at the end of the day is just a hobby, and all you gotta do is enjoy it. And anyone that says that you gotta watch a particular anime to be a part of the community, well, just remember you were in that position once too. That's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. And until then, I'll see you all in the next one.